So there's a huge debate out there. What pipe is better? You have the X pipe and you have the H pipe. What one did I go for? Everybody says that the X pipe is better performance and blah 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 and all that, but everything I looked into, it's maybe a 1% increase at very most of performance wise. But I'll be pushing maybe 300 horsepower, at least for now. 1% math wise, maybe a 2 or 3 horsepower gain. So I guess now it comes down to what it sounds like. Now I have heard that the X pipe sounds a little more raspy, whereas I like that old school muscle rumble. That's where the H pipe's gonna come in. I know this because my brother, his Challenger, he just did kind of the same swap. I'll link that in the bottom below. It's a 70 Challenger with a hemi in it from like 2010. So it's an awesome build. Definitely check that out. But he did the H pipe and that sounds so much better, that low rumble. So that's what I did. Now this is a 2.5 inch from the collectors. And it's going to go all the way through the rest of the exhaust system. Okay. So, after finagling with this for 3 hours with help of Casey, I have come to the realization that this will not fit as is. So, what I have to do is I have to bolt everything back in, and then make new pipes to tack weld in, pull it back down, weld it all completely over, and then put it all back in, which is kind of a bummer, but like everything else in this car, it is custom. So all right, now to go bolt this guy back in. Okay guys, the moment we've been waiting for. If you remember from earlier on, Tyrell helped me pull the engine out and was the last person to see it running besides me. So it's only fair you get to see it start up again. It is time for the first start. I'm kind of nervous. I hope it starts. All right, Holly's on. So everything looks good there. All right, let's try it. Yeah! Oh, it works! It fired so quickly! Oh! Alright, I need to adjust the idle a little bit. I knew that was going to have an issue, but... Oh, yeah! Awesome! The clutch works. Everything is working. So, today is the maiden voyage. Yeah. Neither of us have AAA. It shouldn't break down. But anyway, maiden voyage today. We're going to take it around the lake. And I am excited. First day in like 3 weeks that it hasn't been absolutely dumping down rain. Let's do it. It's quick, it's heavy. So, of everything that I've done with this thing, we've done with this thing, I forget one hose clamp for the heater core. So when we got on it a little bit on the main highway, it blew the heater core hose off and blew all my coolant all over absolutely everything. Luckily, we pulled into a little gas station here, Tom Thumb, and that's the name of the gas station, Tom Thumb. And we got some more coolant, and we're gonna baby it on home so I can throw a clamp on there. We have a wire tie holding it right now. Hopefully I'll hold it enough, but whoops. Of everything, one single clamp.
All the coolant.
All the coolant, all over. And of course some girl in the car next to us knows nothing about cars. All she does is, it looks like it's a little hot. So we managed to make it back. And our hose clamp, wire tie combination worked. There is coolant absolutely everywhere all over the engine right now, so it is smoking like crazy. But overall, minus that little hose, that was a solid first real test drive. I'm very happy with it. It is insanely loud, as you've heard. So I need to weld up my exhaust. That is the next project, is getting the exhaust welded in so it's not obnoxious anymore. Or as obnoxious. As you've heard already, the exhaust is extremely loud. I cannot drive this legally with the exhaust like this. It turns heads in the wrong way. So I need to turn heads in the right way. So today is going to be the exhaust. Now, I have a big old exhaust kit over here that I'm going to pull out and we're going to take a look at. Okay, and there we go. Got it all unboxed. I have a lot of different things here. We have 4 straight pieces that are 3 feet long each. We have 4 180-degree bends. We have 4 90-degree bends and 4 45-degree bends. Plus, I also got some exhaust hangers and some V-clamps so I can weld on there and clamp them together. Instead of having one full piece, I'll be able to disconnect parts of it, a little bit easier to weld it, and also take it off later in case I need to, move stuff around and replace things that requires the exhaust to be taken off. Now, I opted to go for a 2.5 inch all the way straight through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the driver's side back just a little bit. So both of them are going to be sitting about even to each other, so it's a little bit easier to work with and get the right angles, the lengths, and everything the same there. Okay, it looks like that's exactly where I want it, which is pretty awesome. I did that on the first try. So now I just need to mark it slightly so I can keep the angle exactly the same, and then just do a little tack weld around it to hold it in place. Got everything all tacked in how I want it to be up underneath, from basically the headers down to that H-pipe. So now I need to pull the bolts off the headers and drop the entire thing down so I can pull it out and weld every single piece of it before I put it all back together in there. So I've come to this awesome realization that now that I have pretty much everything together, there's no room to get to these exhaust bolts. Didn't think that one through. Alright, got my downpipes, and everything, mid pipes, whatever you want to call it, now off of the engine and ready to weld up. And a couple of these spots I will have to cut off just a little bit to make a kind of filler, because there's a little extra gap here and there, unfortunately. But luckily I cut a lot, so I have a lot of extra scrap. So it doesn't quite look very pretty at the moment. Gonna start grinding off some of these welds and get them all cleaned up so we can see just exactly where any pinhole leaks would be sitting at. So got my exhaust kind of manifold to H-pipe system, downpipe, whatever, complete. It is looking real good. I painted it up with some high heat black paint, so now it should not rust. I'm not going to be driving it in the rain, but Seattle area, rain is bound to happen. So now I got to get this back mounted up against the headers how I want it and start building in the last half of the exhaust. So let's get this guy back installed. Now that I got the exhaust in here, I have it bolted back up with the gasket and everything. I have come to realize that it is slightly crooked. Not anything I couldn't fix by the new straight pipes on here, but that's fine. Nobody's really going to be looking up underneath here and taking a look at it, so I'm not upset about that. But I do have it routed up and over, so now I need to bring two pipes, one on either side of the drive shaft here, all the way down, and into some mufflers. Now that I got this drawing, I'm going to jump and do the other side. Pretty much copy what I did here. Jump on there, put the straight, kind of bend, tuck, whatever I need to, and get the other side all dialed in while it dries. Now that the mufflers are finally in place, I need to now take the exhaust and go up and over the rear axle. Now this part's going to be a little more difficult just because I have to angle it towards the center of the car to go over the shocks, but then I also have to angle it back towards the side of the car where my gas tank sits. So I can avoid that one as well. Awesome. I got the exhaust done and I think it is ready for the first startup with the exhaust all in there. So I didn't want the exhaust tips to stick out too much behind the car. I didn't want to give away that the exhaust is almost double the size of what the original exhaust was. So I kept it actually tucked up pretty high up in there, but I have the downward dumps to have them dump down at about a 45-degree angle out towards the back of the vehicle here, and keep the exhaust tucked up pretty nicely in there. Got it back on its wheels, and it is time for that first fire with the new exhaust. Let's see what it sounds like. All right. I am so happy with how that sounds. That sounds so great. I'm having an issue where I blew off the coolant hose again. Revving it up to 6,000 RPMs kind of blew it off there. Not sure if the hose is bad or the spot where it goes on is bad, or maybe the heater core can't hold that capacity of fluid. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. But I am so... Oh, it sounds so good. Oh, man. I have a little bit of whine from the power steering pump because I don't have power steering fluid in there, because that stuff is coming this week, but I am so happy with it. It is sounding so good, and I mean, I need to finish it up, get the interior done, and then I need to get it to an alignment so then I can actually drive it around and have some fun with it. Ah, sounds so good. All right, I'm gonna start it up one more time. Yeah, one more time for you guys. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're going to see you guys next week.